Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Contributions to Savings Accounts seminar from the Share Foundation. Um, just a bit of quick housekeeping before we start. Please, if I can ask, just keep your microphone switched off unless you've got a question. It will just stop any feedback from your microphone. Please ask away any questions at any point in time in the seminar just by either unmuting yourself and ask the question or putting something in the chat. Feel free to do that. We don't require any recordings, but if you do like to put your face on there, please start your video now. Otherwise, I'll just get on. Right. Good morning, everybody. This is the contributions team at the Share Foundation. It's me, Joe, and Darius. Darius will join me today for the seminar. The topics we will be covering today is who are the Share Foundation, the types of savings accounts available, an overview, the contribution to individual accounts, contributions to multiple accounts, the Share Foundation banking information. Then we will go through why we possibly would need to refund any contributions that's made to us for any young people. And at the end, any questions or further discussions. Introduction to the Share Foundation. The Share Foundation is a registered charity that started operating in 2005. In 2012, we were awarded a government contract to set up and administer junior ISA schemes for children in care. In 2017, the contract was widened to actually cover child trust funds where there's no adult in a position for parental responsibilities. And in 2023, we were awarded a renewed 4-year contract by the Department for Education. Long-term savings accounts. We have two. There's a junior ISA or there's a child trust fund. Both of these are long-term savings accounts that's set up by the government and were or are still available for any child under the age of 18. The CTF scheme has been closed in 2011, at which point in time the JISA scheme took over. And the Share Foundation are only able to manage CTF accounts where where the local authority confirmed that there's no one suitable in a position for parental responsibility. And at the end, anyone can contribute to a young person's savings account. Now, an overview. The details for the young people will be submitted to us by the local authority in monthly report data sets that they send over. We will then go from there and we will open a JISA account if the young person is eligible, or go and find the CTF accounts if that is applicable. Share Foundation administer accounts until young people leave care. And then this administration also includes additional contributions as well as incentivized financial education program, which is called the Step Ladder program. We are, per the DfE contract, also tasked to raise additional contributions for the accounts. And we have had significant growth in those contributions. At the end of the current financial year, we've raised more than £6 million for young people's accounts. Now I will pass over to Darius to take us through the contributing to individual accounts. Darius.
Morning all, thanks Willem. So this is contributing to individual accounts. A single payment to one young person's account. So there's a few things to consider. It all starts initially with receiving regular data contributions from the local authority. Now, this is usually on a monthly basis. Receiving regular data is the only way that new accounts, junior ISAs, can be opened or child trust funds located. So talking about the child trust funds, we do require responsible adult status from the local authority. This is requested via a monthly report to our main contact at the local authority. We just need a yes or a no on that. And we need a TSF reference number. So this is obtained from the valuation report, which is obtained from the main contacts at the local authority. So this valuation report provides all the accounts that the Share Foundation are managing. Is the young person in care? We can't administer payments if they've left care, if they're 18 and over, and if they're nearing the age of 18. This is to allow us to enable some lead time to get the actual payment through to the account providers. And the contributing amount. So the providers require a minimum of £10 per transaction, and over the course of the tax year, one account can't take any more than £9,000. That's if it's a junior ISA for a tax year, and £9,000 for a child trust fund across the birthday year. So looking at the individual payments, what we need, first of all, the TSF reference number needs to be obtained from the valuation report. Step 2 will be completing an online contribution form, which we'll show you shortly. And then step 3, once that contribution form is completed, a bank transfer needs to be sent to our pool account, which is CAF Bank. And if a contribution form has been completed, then an acknowledgement email should be sent through a few days or so after the payment has been made. If we have a look at the website, so this is our landing page for contributions. Quite often we'll send this across to as an email for anybody that requires payment information. But if we scroll down there, or if you have a look towards the middle there now, you'll see that there's an online contribution form, and you can also download a PDF copy of the actual form there as well. For example, if you're sending it in with a check that will need to be printed off. If we take a look at the online contribution form, so it's going to ask for the details of the person making the payment to us. It's going to ask for the beneficiary details, their date of birth, and most importantly, the TSF reference number. And you'll also see details there for email for us to be able to correspond should we have any queries or provide acknowledgement. Once this form has been submitted, that will get downloaded by us. And then once the payment comes through, we'll reconcile against it. If you see on the left there as well, you will see, well, there were our sort code and account number. Yeah, there we go, on the left there. Okay. So moving on to regular payments. So regular payments are the preferred method of us receiving payments. We can do standing orders, but ideally we find that direct debit seems to work best. So this can be on a monthly or a weekly basis. So as before with the individual contribution, the form, we'll need the TSF reference number. The direct debit instruction will need to be completed on our online portal, and a confirmation email will come through once that direct debit has been set up. If there are existing standing order payments, please make sure to cancel them. Otherwise, there may be duplicate payments coming through. So we'll have a quick look at the direct debit portal. So back to the same landing page. If we scroll down to the direct debit section there, you'll see the option there to either set up a monthly, quarterly, or annual direct debit, and underneath there'll be the option to set up a weekly direct debit. So similar information will be required for this, the beneficiary details, TSF, but in addition, you'll need to supply your sort code and account number to set up the direct debit, as well as specifying the amount and frequency of the actual contribution amount. Right, so moving on to bulk payments. So this is particularly relevant for local authorities, fostering agencies, making any more than a single payment really. And much as the individual ones, it all again starts with the regular data submissions from the local authorities on a monthly basis, ideally. And again, for child trust funds only, will require responsible adult status from the local authority, from the main contact. And TSF references, that again, they're obtained from the valuation report, which shows all the accounts that the Share Foundation are managing. So again, if the young person if they've left care, we're unable to administer payment. If they're over 18 or nearing 18, especially in considering bulk payments, we do look at if they are approaching 18, just so we can get as many of them through to paid as possible. Payment amounts need to be listed as a minimum of £10 for each young person, and again, not exceeding the tax thresholds across the year. Okay. So in summary, what we do is we batch check files that come through to us, that are emailed to us. We run them through our checking processes, identify what we can and cannot administer. We'll then liaise back and forth with the local authority, ask them to update the files, amend the files, etc. And then finally we'll agree upon a final sum to pay. So we do ask that payment is made as soon as reasonably possible after the file is agreed. What we then do is usually on a Wednesday, we will administer all the local authority files and payments that have come through, in addition to all the individual contributions that have come through. And then we'll send payment schedules, payments, remittances, etc., to all the 30 or so account providers that we work with. If you are looking to consider contributing to us via the bulk process, we require a list, very simple list as far as we're concerned. It's 2 columns. So column A there being the TSF reference number, and then column B being the associated payment values. We don't need any additional formulas, and we ask that it's kept, as you can see where the arrow is there, to 2 decimal points, as it will scramble our checking processes. Once that's done, the file then needs to be emailed across to ourselves. We will then check the files and confirm, and either request that files are updated or amended, and then ask for payment. And then step 4, we will do the administration as touched on a weekly basis. So we bank with Charities Aid Foundation Bank, CAF Bank. Now, these bank details are the same for whether you're doing an individual payment or a bulk contribution. Payment reference are very important for multiple accounts, bulk payments. It can just be the name of the local authority. We'll match it against the file that we have pending. And for individual accounts, it has to be the TSF reference number of the young person. If there are if new supplier forms, etc., are needed, or you need our bank details on letterhead, then feel free to request that from us. That's not a problem. Okay. So whilst we do try and administer all payments, or as many as we possibly can, we do sometimes need to make refunds back to source. So sometimes we may receive incorrect TSF or no TSF reference on the bank transaction, so we have nothing to allocate it against. A young person has left care. The young person is 18 or is nearing the age of 18 there. So some providers that we work with, they have different thresholds as far as the times involved with being able to administer a payment as they near 18. We may not have the account details. It's due to the responsible adult status from the local authority. That's only applicable to child trust funds. We can still wait for information to be received from the HMRC. HMRC being HMRC, it can be weeks to months in certain cases. So when we got notification that we need to set up a junior ISA, that can be about 6 weeks or so before new monies can go into it. So young people can take control of the accounts at the age of 16. Some of them, not most of them, but some of them do choose to move it on to another provider, and we can't, in that case, administer any payments. So this is referring to the bulk payments process. So local authorities sometimes send us, thousands of pounds into our account. And that's prior to us receiving any files or remittances or paperwork to actually check. In that case, quite often we will have to refund quite a bit. The young person's status has changed since the initial check of the bulk file, so we can't administer payments if the young person as their status has changed from in care to not in care. So if we've agreed a final an amount for a final file, whilst we do request that monies are received sooner rather than later, sometimes the money can be received weeks, if not more after the initial check, and then we'll have to restart the whole checking process and potentially refund. And contributions that are under £10 we cannot administer, so we'll need to refund. And if the young person's account goes over the £9,000 threshold, then we'll have to refund that particular sum of money. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Um,
Sorry. Yes, there was a brief overview of the contributions process within the Share Foundation. If anyone has any questions, please let us know. If there is anything afterwards you think of and you have a question, please contact us on the details on screen now, and we are more than happy to come back to you. If you are possibly looking into the bulk donations, if you drop us an email, then Darius or Joe will set up a meeting with you guys to go through that process in more detail. Right, if there's no further questions, thank you very much for joining us today. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.